All right, it looks like we're still missing about 24 voters, so make sure that everyone's logged into the system all the way to the first screen. There's a good chance 4 of them might be at the front table up here. All right, good morning, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order, the April 2025 meeting of the CHSAA Legislative Council. We're going to start off with our national anthem, and I'd like to read a brief bio real quick about our singer. Aspen McLean is a driven and dynamic junior at Sierra High School in Colorado Springs, known for her academic excellence and creative talent. An honor student and a Stout Scholar, she's actively involved in basketball, AVID, Elevated, National Honor Society, ECOC, and student government. Aspen is on track to graduate with both her high school diploma and an associate's degree and plans to major in music performance in college. Love for music began at the age of 3 with the Colorado Springs Conservatory. Starting with piano, Aspen went on to teach herself guitar, drums, trumpet, and ukulele. She writes, produces, and performs her own original songs and has been affectionately called Baby Ella for her soulful renditions of classic jazz tunes. She's performed on stages across Colorado Springs and shares her passion by visiting elementary schools to inspire young students, an experience that led her to speak with Governor Jared Polis about early childhood education. Aspen sums up her musical journey in one powerful phrase: my life, my passion. At this time, I'd invite everybody please rise and face the flag and join Aspen McLean as she sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Aspen. That was amazing. Thank you. All right, Bethany, you get to follow that. Bethany Brookins is going to come up to the podium and do roll call at this time.
I will not be singing. Good morning, everybody. All right, roll call. Kelly Presser, 5280. Richard Hardgrove, Arkansas Valley. Sammy Swenis, Black Forest. Nathan Trice, Black Forest. Jason Wilkins, Cada. Coral Lanter, Cada. Matt Heckel, Cada. Teal Hempel, Casby. Kurt Holland, Casby. Robin Robin Mieres. We don't have, okay. Will Jones Casby, Katie Harms Casby, Diana Chrisman Casa, Wendy Burr Hansel Casa, great. Larry Bull Centennial, Melinda Brown Centennial, Wes Smock Centennial, Casey Powell City League, Leon Garcia City League, Leon, Kevin Benji City League, Kurt Slaughter City League, Kurt, Ryan Weideman, Colorado, Amanda Wormers, Colorado Springs Metro North, Tim Colgate, Colorado Springs Metro, John Schub, Colorado Springs Metro, Eddie McGee, Colorado Springs Metro, Matt Wilson, Colorado Springs Metro South, Tom Brisky, Continental, Jill Schrader, Continental, Josh Stevenson, Continental, Lon Gomer, Fishers Peak, Lon, Sean DePaula, Foothills, Tara Hatfield, Foothills, Amy Peters, Frontier, Thomas McCarty, Frontier, Chad Eisentrager, Granite Peak, Marty Tonjes, Granite Peaks, Nick Kosevich, Granite Peaks, Nick, okay. Manuel Gonzalez, High Plains, Greg Jones, Intermountain, Patrick Simpson, Jeffco, Maddie Horniker, Jeffco, Mike Hughes, Jeffco, Andy Schoen, Lower Platte, Presley Papachek, Lower Platte, John Hill, Metropolitan, Dan Seidman, Metropolitan, Colleen Ford, Mile High, Jeff Schusler, Mile High, Derek Feather, North Central, JJ Barons, NCAC, Northern, okay, Dave Walk, Northern, Eric Johnson, Northern, Ryan Wehrman, Patriot, Travis Steiner, Patriot, Nick Baker, Pikes Peak, Ryan Bishop, Rocky Mountain, David Smith, Rocky Mountain, Jason Humphrey, Rocky Mountain, Chris Murray, San Juan, Mark Lowther, Santa Fe, Dusty Lotrick, South Central, Melanie Shawcroft, Southern Peaks, Scott Wiedemann, Southern Peaks, Greg Hawkins, Southwestern, Chris Medina, Tri-Peaks, Matt Addington, Tri-Peaks, Jake Trahern, Union Pacific, Ryan Christensen, West Central, Clark Kindler, Western Slope, Jordan DeCrow, Western Slope, Melissa Rigsby, Western Slope, Kyle Boydstrom, Western Slope, and Connor Fiskus, YWKC. Okay, great. So has Robin from Casby shown? Diana Chrisman, Casa, Leon Garcia, City League, Kurt Slaughter, City League, Lon Gomer, Fishers Peak, and Nick is in the room but still not present. Okay, thank you. Yes, go ahead. Thank you for letting me know. Kathy, do we have, okay, we're missing a row from the voting members. Sorry. You guys are, so it's Longspeak and who else? Or it's just Longspeak? It's just you, Ryan? Oh, we got you, Ryan. Great. All right, thank you guys.
All right, Ryan Casey's going to come up to the podium here real quick and walk through the voting instructions with you. Let's try to troubleshoot anything now so we can streamline the process when we get to the actual voting.
Good morning. So we have 66 of you who filled out voter information. Looks like we have 70 voters today, so 4 of you have not filled it out. If you're having trouble, please let us know. In the meantime, as we go forward, we will flip to the voting slide as is being discussed. Voting will be closed, and then once President West calls for the vote, we will open the voting and you'll be able to vote. Same process as the last couple of years, but if you have any questions, let us know.
All right, so let's go ahead and open up the voting system and try a test vote here to start with. Have you ever been skydiving? Yes, no, or not yet. The voting is open now. Now it is. $70? So we should have a total of 70 votes. Right now we have, what, 67?
Yeah, but Nick isn't here. He subbed Tyler. Copy. Okay.
67. We're still missing 3 votes.
It's Tyler.
It's okay. We won't tell him.
Okay.
68, 69, 70. No, 69. Pomona math. One more vote out there. Is there anybody having a trouble voting? I don't have any jokes. We good? Yep, there we go. All right, thank you. First item of business is to approve the minutes from our Legislative Council meeting back January 28th. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting? Josh from CSML, second. Travis, Patriot League. Just as a reminder, and thank you guys for doing that, when you're making a motion or making a second, if you could hold up your name placard, that helps oftentimes to see who puts that up first, because you can't hear everything clearly up here. And if you could just say your name and the league you're representing, that would be amazing. So we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the January 28th meeting. Any discussion? Tom? Any discussion? Note in the minutes that Tom said yeah. Okay. I'm shocked by this. All right, with that, let's vote to approve the minutes from January 28th. The voting is open. So before we get started, I just want to make a couple of opening remarks. My name is Ryan West. I'm the athletic director at Regis Jesuit High School, and just honored to be wrapping up my second and final year as president of the board for the CHSAA Board of Directors, and to be able to stand up here in front of this amazing group of people and truly celebrate what this organization is all about, and that being teamwork and the ability to work together and to come together and find solutions that are equitable and fair for everybody. Not necessarily decisions that everybody agrees with, but we're able to come together as a team and have collaborative discussions and do those sorts of things to make it work for the best of the organization. And I wanted to point out a few instances. As we get here into April, we're getting into awards season and all those sorts of things. And a week ago last Monday night, had a chance, was honored to be here in this very room as the CHSAA group got together and celebrated its Hall of Fame inductees for the class of 2025. And 8 amazing coaches got inducted into the Hall of Fame that night. But what struck me that evening was, number one, all the collegiality and everything that the CHSAA group does to unite the coaches across the state, to honor their longevity, to honor their service to their schools and to their kids and to their communities. But as each of those coaches got up to receive their award, every single one of them deflected the recognition off of them and put it back on the people that they worked with, whether it was assistant coaches, whether it was administration, whether it was teachers, whether it was family and friends. It wasn't just about that one person being honored or being recognized. It was about everybody that was involved. And some of the stories that some of those coaches told were absolutely amazing. And just to hear the longevity and how long, people like Rich Yonker and Andy Lowry and some of those people that were involved, that were recognized that night, was just great to hear their stories. And then coming up this next week at the CHSAA conference, again, an amazing organization run by, facilitated by, organized by athletic directors, and the important role that athletic directors play in the world of things that we do. And we're going to get together next Monday, and we'll have a celebration banquet up there as we honor various stages of achievement, whether it's longevity, whether it's doing something great, getting a special award. But again, I think as we get to watch those videos every year of those people being recognized, you hear them talk about all the people that helped them on their journey and their teamwork and the people that helped them get. Nobody gets there by themselves. And then last night, had a chance to go to the National Football Foundation banquet, where they get together every year and they honor scholar athletes. And to see these 16 seniors get recognized, not just for their excellence on the football field, but also for their excellence in the classroom, and to hear their different stories, and again, to hear all the people that were involved in their lives, their parents, their coaches, their athletic directors, everybody that brought them to that stage. Again, it takes a community to bring everybody together. And it was neat last night because John Elway, a guy, you might have heard of him, he was the keynote speaker, and he got up and spoke for about 30 seconds, but then they did a fireside chat sort of thing with him and Jim Sacamano, where just gave him a chance to talk and go back and reflect on his experience in high school and how that connection that he made. He grew up in Western Washington, 6th through 8th grade, 6th through 9th grade, and was a running back. He wasn't even a quarterback at the time. And when he moved to California, because his dad changed colleges that he was coaching at, the new coach at his high school, at Granada Hills High School, got him into being a quarterback and taught him how to throw the football, and the rest is history. And just that impact that coaches and everybody can have as when we work together as a team. And he talked to the kids about teamwork and how football is such a great team sport, because when you win a championship, you get to celebrate with so many other people that got there with you. It's never one person that gets you there. And so just wanted to talk about teamwork and the way that it relates to what we do here as a legislative council, what we do as a board of directors, and what we do as a CHSAA staff, and the importance of all of us working together in what we do. And looking back at the past couple years where I've had the opportunity to serve as president, but last 6 years where I've been a part of the board of directors, just been amazed at the work that the CHSAA staff does on a day-to-day basis. The phone calls that they field, the emails that they respond to, the events that they organize, just all the logistics that goes into, for the most part, putting everything together just runs so smoothly to honor our schools and our kids and our teams. Just want a huge shout out to the CHSAA staff. And I want to go back and just kind of lift up some things that stand out over these last couple of years, and some things outside of the normal day-to-day sports operations. Things like Bethany and Jen and all their work in lifting up women in leadership, and then the platform that's taken off and honored women in leadership positions and what we do. The work that John Hill and Jen have done with the CHSAA Foundation and branching out that way and taking on that role. The esports and unified bowling and speech and leadership and music and sportsmanship programs, all those things that CHSAA recognizes all the time. It's just so cool to sit back and watch this staff take that and run with it every day. Just in the last couple years alone, we've approved and sanctioned flag football, which is the fastest growing sport in the state. We talked about them for a while and finally approved shot clocks and got that done, and now those are all in the installation process around the state. We acquired $15 million in football helmets through the All-In, All-Covered program, through partnership with the Denver Broncos Foundation and things that we've done. So I just want to lift up the CHSAA staff for everything that they do, and I would ask that everybody join me in a round of applause in recognizing their day-to-day efforts. So with that, I want to bring up the president, may as well be the president. No, the commissioner of CHSAA, and it's my honor today, kind of in light of the NFL draft being in a couple of days, kind of taking on the role of GM here a little bit. I would like to announce that we have come to terms on a 3-year contract extension with Commissioner Kruger. So he will be serving in that role for the next 3 years, and we're happy to have him leading this organization. So with his opening comments, I would like to turn the microphone over to Mike Kruger.
Thanks, Rand. You didn't mention as a former water polo player out of Canada, but good morning. And thank you for being here today and for the collective commitment that you show towards strengthening the mission and heart of this association. Before I get into the core of today's update for you, I want to begin by recognizing a few important groups and individuals whose leadership has and continues to truly make a difference. First, to our CHSAA Board of Directors, thank you. Your guidance, steady hands, and commitment to our mission over the past year have not only been appreciated, but instrumental in establishing direction while leaning into our values as an organization. I'd especially like to recognize those board members whose terms are coming to a close at the end of this school year. Sarah Crawford, Jim Flanagan, Robert Frammel, Alfie Lotrich, Ryan West, Cameron Wright, and Senator Tony Exum. Your selfless passion, your strong voice of leadership, and your presence in this space over the last 4 years have left a lasting impact. On behalf of this association, our schools, the CHSAA staff, and myself, a sincere and heartfelt thank you. Can we give them a round of applause, please? To our president, Ryan West, today marks your final legislative council meeting. Seems like yesterday we were talking about how nervous you were to lead your first, and you were with the rookie commissioner. But we're grateful for your leadership, for your poise, your passion for education-based activities. Thank you for the way you've led and the example that you've set. On a personal note, thank you for your confidence, your trust, and your friendship. I also want to send a very special thank you to our legal counsel, Alex Halpern, who's become #1 on my speed dial in the last few months, but always #1 in my heart, Alex, after my wife, because this is probably being streamed. But I just want to express my gratitude and thanks to you for everything that you do for me, for our organization. You're an incredible friend, incredible mentor, and thank you for the guidance and wisdom that you're always so willing and unselfishly willing to provide. So thank you, my friend. I also want to take a moment to just acknowledge, as Ryan did, the team that I get to be part of every day, our CHSAA staff. What you do day in and day out, so oftentimes behind the scenes, is nothing short of extraordinary. Your dedication, your work ethic, and your commitment to each of our school communities, their activities and their programs is truly unwavering. You don't just work hard, you care deeply. And I'm proud to work alongside each and every one of you. Thank you for how you care for and support one another, and for working as the true example of a family. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Kathy Lenz, who's the brains of the outfit in the commissioner's office, but also responsible for a great event like today, one of my favorite events, Legislative Council. She does so much to put this together. So again, would you give Kathy and our staff your thanks? All right, as I reflect on this past year, similar to how Ryan did, I was continually struck by the breadth and depth of the work that has been done over the last year. From numerous committee meetings, board meetings, to the clock task force, the transfer options task force, the many work groups we've had, and the informal meetings. The truth is that all of you have poured an incredible amount of time, energy, and thought into complex and often emotionally charged topics. The level of engagement and reflection from each of you and from stakeholders across the state has not only helped inform and shape potential policy, but more importantly has reaffirmed the passion that we all share for getting these things right. Just as important as the policy work has been, the way we've committed to connecting is another sense of pride. Over the past year, we've expanded opportunities to be in dialogue with one another, not just to share information, but to truly listen. Through platforms like the monthly CADA and CHSAA AD Connects, as Ryan mentioned, the Women in Leadership Initiative, our BIPOC Leaders Network, our small and rural school symposiums, and of course our monthly Coffee with the Commish, just to name a few. These aren't just check boxes on a calendar. These are intentional efforts to bring people together across roles, regions, and experiences. That connection is what makes a difference. I'd like to close with just a few thoughts that go beyond the tasks at hand today and something that I hope centers us on a deeper reason that we're here. There's something I have come to realize in this work, the many years that I've been doing it and the short time I've been doing it in this role, but it's that perspective isn't just about what we see, it's about how we feel what others experience. That's the true responsibility of leadership, to carry the weight of decisions with the heart of a caretaker, not just the mind of rule or policymakers. As most of you know, and Kathy can certainly vouch for this, but I get my share of fan mail. Most of the time it isn't from those who are super happy with a decision I, our staff, or someone in our organization has made. Sometimes I get an email or a letter which better explains the parts of the bylaws that I don't understand very well. Parents are great with explaining that to me, and especially those bylaws where I could benefit from a little bit deeper knowledge. Sometimes the letter, by the way, it always comes in a plain envelope with no return address. That gives me impeccable insights. So a lot of times I'll get that letter, and sometimes it gives me insights into how you guys are doing. And now I'm certainly not complaining about this, as I recognize that it's part of the gig. But every now and then I also get a letter from someone who wants to share an experience or even offer a thank you. This was true for me right after we got back from winter break. I got back in the office. Waiting for me on my desk was a handwritten letter that I had received from a parent. It was in the typical white envelope with no return address label. So I mentally started to prepare for what I was sure would be a comforting sharing of ideas. And to be honest, that is exactly what it was. As I opened it and started to read the message, it pulled me right in as a parent and as a school leader, as an educator, and in my role as commissioner. The heartfelt letter started by explaining that their child wasn't a star athlete. He wasn't going to play in college, didn't have a particularly successful season by competitive standards, but the letter wasn't about results, it was about growth. As I read it, I could almost hear the mom's voice as she shared, my son didn't win much this year. He sat the bench more than he wanted. He came home frustrated at times, but he never quit. His coaches showed up for him. His teammates supported him. He learned to lead by encouraging others from the sideline. On senior night, when he walked across the field, I cried, not because of his playing time or his points, but because I saw a young man who had grown into himself. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to the people who still believe that this matters. That is you. You're the people that this still matters to. And it matters to the people who we influence. And I wanted to share that with you. Not because it's a rare story, but because we just don't talk about it enough. It's happening every day in our schools, in your schools. And those moments only happen when and because we lead with the proper perspective. If we as leaders lose that lens, if we lose the heart behind this work, we risk creating systems that function, but they don't fulfill. And if we don't lead with that clarity, we can't expect others to follow with that same belief. So yes, we will continue to look back at what's been done, and we will certainly look forward to what still needs to be accomplished. But more importantly, let's look around at each other, at the students and families that we serve, and at the shared values that hold us together. Because unity, not uniformity, but unity is the foundation of this association. We're not called to all think the same, but we are all called to care and serve the same. We may disagree, we may debate, but we must always lead with respect, with humility, and with a shared commitment to the greater good. The work we do, like the work you'll do today, doesn't define us. The outcomes of that work do not give us purpose. Our shared role as servant leaders, caretakers of this powerful platform that we call high school athletics and activities, that is what gives us purpose. Thank you all for your leadership, for your service, and for walking beside each other in this work. It's a privilege to stand with you, and it is always an honor to serve as your commissioner. Thank you, and I wish you the very best as you shape the future for every member school and the students you serve through your actions and decisions today. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to share with you that this year, one of the things we are looking back on and we're excited to share with you. And if you remember last January, I stood up here and said, I'm really excited to share stuff with you too. And I was excited. And I'm glad to say that we did finally get the helmets. And we worked through that, but I appreciate that. This April, I'm excited to share with you that over the last year, the staff has gone through a process for looking at CHSAA's brand and logo. It has been a significant number of years, decades, since we've looked at that. And we thought possibly some of the thinking of the staff and the board was, you know, we've come through, we reached our 100-year mark as an organization back a few years ago, back in 2021, 22. We were right in the middle of a pretty serious situation with a pandemic, so we didn't have great opportunities to celebrate that. But as we look ahead to the next 100 years, we were super excited to go through this process and just look at our logo. And so the driver of this process and project was really Ryan Casey. I did ask him to come up here and do this himself, but he is a little bit camera shy. Shout out Ryan because he led this effort. He found the company that we worked with, and this was a very lengthy process, involved a lot of discussion, a lot of shared decision making. The staff was phenomenal at providing insight, and we had a group, a little task force subcommittee together to work within the staff. But we looked at everything from the colors to the logo to how do we recognize moving forward what we can do. We are not going away from the old CHSAA flag logo, but we will affectionately refer to it as our vintage logo. So we're really excited about that. But on July 1st, we will start sharing that logo. You see it on your travel tech organizers that all the voting members of Legislative Council got today. But I'd like to share the brand logo with you this morning. And the different color schemes that we used. So, Ryan? So, this process, we actually started with a number of different logos and opportunities to examine those and discuss them, and I can't tell you how those many debates we had, even into the evening via text and that, just to try to identify what is a great message for CHSAA. And so after many iterations and many logos and ideas that came through with different colors, and it was actually a fun process at times. It was frustrating at times, but I can tell you that overall it was really an enjoyable experience, and this is what we came up with. So things that in the logo that I'd like to point out to you, obviously the mountains are important to us anytime that we have an opportunity to travel across the state, but more importantly nationally, mountains are what truly highlighted separately to recognize that we support high schools. We're the Colorado High School Activities Association. And then the 3 stars that you see represent academics in the middle with both activities and athletics as the 2 supporting stars. Those are really that's the logo, and then we have different iterations of it that you can use. So you can see the CHSAA with the 3 stars in the bottom left corner, just the 3 stars themselves, or just the logo emblem itself. And then the color scheme we worked quite hard on. It's a little play off of off of the blues that we've used before, but also to represent gold and the standard of setting a gold standard in everything we do with educationally based athletics and activities. So Ryan, do you want to go through the rest of the color schemes that you can see? So you'll start to see these. We particularly like the one in the top right-hand corner, which identifies the year we were founded in 1921, but you can also see how we can incorporate the sports under the main logo acronym as well. And then the different color schemes, you'll see on both the gold and the blue backgrounds, and then also we have a two-color version as well. So the blue background, which sometimes it is a very dark navy blue, and so we will be working to change this logo out. Obviously, it's a process, but we'll be working on banners and different things. But the first iteration that you see, or the first opportunity to share this with you, was on the Travel Tech Organizer. So you can see the two color schemes there. So we're very excited to share that with you. One of the things we did recognize that when you do something like this, whoa, I almost lost my microphone. Have you been able to hear that whole thing? We recognize that the logo that we've had historically has great significance to us, and many of those that have come through. Other way? Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, always taking care of me. Anytime that we move into new branding or a new logo, the reality of the situation is that we also want to pay great respect to the traditions and those who identify with our organization through the previous logo. So very sensitive to that, but we're very excited to move forward with this new logo. So thank you. Thanks, Ryan.
Happiest person in the room right now is Melinda Brown. Those are Mullen colors, so no, it's all good. They're CHSAA colors, CHSAA colors. Mullen's just the chosen one school. All right, legal report at this time, Alex Halpern.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. Great to be here. Nice to see you. Since our last meeting of the Legislative Council, we have not, happily, had a lot of legal upheavals or no litigation and very, very few appeals. I don't think we've had appeals with lawyers during that period of time. So that's all good, and I think that speaks well of the activities of the administration, of our staff, and Commissioner Kruger in terms of dealing with those situations, and probably ultimately good work at the local level with working with people who are may have eligibility issues or transfer issues. The fewer that come up to the level of an appeal, much less a board appeal, the better. I think that's a sign of successful administration. One matter that I do want to give a little attention to or reflect on, you all know that back in February, President Trump made an announcement regarding the gender identification of transgender students. That's a highly politicized issue, and it's one that, in our opinion, we do well to maintain a neutral position. Our position is and has been that ultimately the determination of who is going to be eligible to participate on a particular interscholastic team at a particular school is a decision to be made by that school as guided by its Board of Education and consistent with the principles of local control of education, including eligibility for athletics. It would be naive to fail to recognize that at the same time this has become a highly politicized issue, has been for a long time. I do want to say that CHSAA, we received a letter last week from a group of approximately 50 or 60 individuals on their own behalf, not writing on behalf of their boards of education or any member school, but as individuals, but identifying themselves as some of them as being members of boards of education of 6 or 7 districts. So it's not from our point of view, it's not a communication from a member, but it is obviously a communication from concerned educators in the state. And basically the contents of the letter are a directive or a demand that CHSAA do certain things and take certain positions relative to transgender athletes, or as it's phrased, boys competing in girls' sports, which might be something of a oversimplification, but we want you to know we do not know, CHSAA does not collect information on whether or not there are transgender students participating in interscholastic sports. We don't know, it's not our business to know, and we don't inquire. It's a local district decision, and it is a privacy issue for the students. That being said, the letter demands that CHSAA revise our bylaws to restrict participation in girls' sports to students who are biologically female. We're looking into how to respond to that, but by way of beginning clarification, that is not within our authority. We are not a super school board or something like that, that we can make decisions that are, we believe, by law and by the Colorado Constitution reserved to the member schools, and we intend to hold to that position and see what sort of directives come from people with considerably more authority than CHSAA has over the matter of student gender identification. So I want, and we will be responding to the letter, but I did want you to know that, because it's received a little bit of press coverage, not all that much, but that's where we are with that. And certainly, if you have questions locally that are CHSAA related, you can feel free to direct them to us. So that being said, good luck with your deliberations today. There are some very interesting issues as usual, and as usual, I'm delighted to be here to speak with you.
All right, so today I'm going to give you an update on our financials through March, which includes winter sports, as well as take you through our budget for next year that you'll be voting on after that. So first, the financials. So right now we're sitting at a revenue of $5.23 million, expenses of $5 million, and a net income of about $220,000. So we are pretty close to our projections. However, revenue is down about $73,000 so far, and expenses are up about $160,000. So looking deeper at revenue, membership fees, those are up about $45,000 this year, really due to increased participation. A lot of schools adding teams, Plus, we added flag football, participations up in boys volleyball, girls wrestling, unified bowling, esports, to name a few. Programs are on track with our projections. Officials, while that's mostly a pass-through, us covering expenses of officials, the registrations for officials are up about 4%. Corporate partnerships, this includes corporate sponsorships, as well as network partnerships and our merchandise royalties. Our network partnerships, some of our revenue shares are up about 25% this year. We're also in a new contract with our merchandise vendor, so that added some additional revenue there. For other income, that really is inclusive of interest. Due to the size of our reserves at this point, we've been earning additional interest on that. And then sports and activities. That revenue is down about 2% from our budget. While we had a good fall, winter wasn't quite as good, and so that was that decrease there. And if you look at the comparison to last year, the reason that's down so significantly is because of the tournament and playoff finance change, and that new classification fee is reflected in membership dues. So to give you a summary of winter sports, really every sport was down in ticket sales this year except for girls swimming. Basketball was down about 18%, which equates to about $150,000 less. Wrestling was down about 6%, $32,000 less. So when we've talked about, reasons for this, a few things. One is that, these events were on different weekends this year. The calendar definitely affects things. Teams playing in these events also affects that, as well as student sections being a little smaller. And then this also follows a national trend that we're hearing about, that at these bigger events, we're hearing from our ticket vendors, sales across the country, and what we hear from other state associations, ticket sales are just kind of trending down. That seems to be that, after COVID, everybody wanted to attend events and were willing to pay for that, and now that's receded a bit. So we'll keep following that, but perhaps this is a new normal for us with our ticket sales. Going into expenses through March, programs and officials right on track. Committees, we've held some additional in-person meetings to increase that communication, so have some additional expenses there. Operating expenses are down about $30,000 from the budget, a little less travel, and we had allocated some funds to put towards investigating a new building. Haven't had to spend all of that. Winter expenses. Basketball only up a little bit, $13,000. Mostly due to our 2A venue. Ice hockey, skiing, speech, swimming very close to budget. Wrestling was actually up $63,000 in expenses. Working at Ball Arena, costs just continue to go up there. Really the main thing there is the Argus workers. That's a huge line item for us. The Denver minimum wage has gone up. So we really dug into the details there and are looking at if there's any way to improve that for the future, those costs. So just to kind of give you the update here on, we've talked about revenue and expenses, but from a net income perspective, what contributed to our bottom line for winter. Basketball, we had projected a budget of $267,000, and so that was down about $153,000 from what we were projecting. Ice hockey down, and then wrestling, that actually did lose money this year, so we had a variance from our budget of $88,000. So overall, winter was down about $257,000 from what we were projecting. So luckily, we were up through fall, so we are still actually ahead of our budget by about $40,000 despite all of that. So, we still plan to have a good year. Last year, we were at $597,000 at this point in net income through the year. So again, just seeing a shift in kind of probably a new normal for us with our ticket sales and, planning to land closer to our budget this year. And just to give you a quick update on our reserves, We're sitting at about 3.267 million, right around our reserve policy of 3.2 million. So just wanted to update you there. And then now just wanted to shift gears to give you an overview of the budget you'll be voting on for 2025 to 2026. So really, this budget will be our roadmap for next year. It's going to help us guide our decision making and help measure our financial performance. Overall, you can see it's not too different than the past couple of years. We're projecting a revenue of 7.078 million, expenses of 6.88 million, and a net income of almost 195,000. To go into a little bit more with revenue, membership fees, pretty similar to this year. No new schools joining the association. Classification fees staying the same. So we are projecting very similar numbers to this year. Programs, really similar budget as well, continuing the Women's Leadership event. Hall of Fame's in there as well. Officials also planning similar registration numbers as this year. Corporate, we are with our TPG corporate sponsorship contract, that goes up by about $25,000 next year, and we are anticipating some additional revenue growth from our revenue share agreements. Other income, we tried to plan interest in there as much as we could. We'll see how the rates fluctuate with the economy, but plan that in as best as we could. And then sports and activities, projecting a revenue of 3.29 million. We really looked at the averages over the past couple of years, planned it in through fall sports or looking at that data. So really no huge changes. As the year progresses, seeing how winter went, we may consider a ticket price increase in a couple sports, such as wrestling that lost money. So we'll be figuring that out as well. So just to show you our revenue as a percentage of the whole, the categories have not changed, which really just shows that as a percentage of the whole, there's consistency from year to year. Ticket sales and sports and activities, sorry about that, that's the wrong one, are the same. There we go, wrong chart. So just a minor change, corporate partnerships went up 2% and membership fees went down 2%. So, we see that as a good thing that more money's coming in from outside the membership. Okay, so going to expenses. Programs pretty consistent with last year's budget. One thing we are allocating some additional funds to here is a sportsmanship summit, aligning with our priority to keep working on sporting behavior. Officials, we're experiencing about a 9% increase in officials insurance. So some additional expense and costs there. Schools will also be getting an additional rule book for wrestling, so adding that in as well. Committees continuing to allocate funds for some more in-person meetings, the symposiums, continuing that. And then operating expenses, about an 8% increase there for a few reasons. One is that we did double our legal budget, just anticipating this kind of more uncertain legal climate. Want to make sure we have proper funds there. And also with Alex's retirement and proper training for a new legal team coming in. Still a little bit of uncertainty with what we're going to do with potentially a new building or staying in our current space, so allocated some funds there. And then with the new logo, we will be having some one-time purchases of some new banners and new branding around our events. And then wages and benefits. Overall, seeing an increase here with salaries and insurance costs. We have kind of underwent a more comprehensive overview of our salaries, comparing it to comp data, putting some growth opportunities in for staff. And so with that came some increases. And our insurance costs also went up about 12%, which I'm sure your benefits team at your schools are experiencing as well. And then lastly, sports and activities, up about 7% from this year's budget and 10% from last year. While there's some changes per sport, Some overall trends we're seeing are, officials going up 5% in cost, awards, venue costs, workers, again, all things you're probably seeing too, but planning for some of those increases. So as you look as a percentage of a whole, again, while there's some increases, it's maintaining consistency among categories. It's not like our spending in sports and activities or wages is getting out of balance, maintaining consistency. So overall, our net income next year we're projecting $194,711, and now I'll leave you to vote.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we'll actually vote for that when we get to the committee report, right? Or are we going to vote for that now? Vote for it now? All right, we'll vote for it now. Do we have a motion, or we'll just vote? Go ahead and vote on preliminary approval of the 2025-2026 budget. At this time, voting is open. We're up to 72 voting members, too, for those of you keeping score. Five seconds. All right, that passes. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you for all your hard work and responsible stewardship of our money. We appreciate that. John Hill. John, were you going to say a few things about the CHSAA Foundation at this time?
All right, yes, thank you. Good morning. John Hill, representing the foundation today. As a reminder, the foundation seeks to provide opportunities for the membership. The foundation currently has funds of a little over $200,000, and we recently committed to supporting the AD mentorship program again next year. Thank you for those of you that attended the Hall of Fame dinner and silent auction this past January. We raised over $10,000 at the event. I believe that's the most ever raised at the event. We are once again looking forward to our annual golf tournament. We had about 150 golfers and 11 sponsors last year. The tournament sold out and brought in about $15,000. If you were unable to play this past year, we hope that you're able to this year, as the tournament is once again hosted at Arrowhead Golf Course on July 29th, following the All-School Summit. The registration link is live. You can actually scan the QR code up on the screen right now. The link is also on the foundation page on the CHSAA website. The link will also be sent with the All-School Summit information. Please register as soon as possible, as prices will go up after July 11th. As a reminder, when scheduling games, keep in mind to utilize your foundation games, as 100% of the proceeds go directly to the foundation. Finally, a thank you to the foundation board. This group of individuals are committed to the initiatives that benefit our students. Thank you for your time this morning. We hope to see you at the golf tournament in July.
Thanks, John. At this time, Jen Roberts-Ulick has a couple of special recognitions along with some of our corporate partner sponsorships.
Awesome, thank you. It's our true honor today to obviously bring in our corporate partners that are such meaningful parts of our membership, not only for CHSAA, but our membership. These two outstanding partners that we've had for quite a while go above and beyond and do community. They're very, very ingrained in the community. And what they do to recognize and provide recognitions, awards, scholarships are just above none. And so we're very, very thankful for our partnerships with both Shields. We have Russ and Scott that are going to be representing Shields today, and we have Jenny Van Meter and Robert representing Children's today. And so with that, I would just like to call up, is it Scott? Scott first. And again, thank you guys for your dedication to all that we do at CHSAA and our membership. We couldn't do it without you.
Great, thank you, Jen. Hey, first off, just want to thank all of you in attendance, number one, for what you do for your kids, what you do for your schools and your communities. It matters, and so thank you for that. Hey, good morning. My name is Scott Manchester, and I work for the Colorado Springs Shields as the youth sports coordinator. Shields is proud to be a sponsor of CHSAA again this year, and I'm happy to be joined here today by my colleagues, Bree Cruz, who's our social media lead right here, and also from Colorado Springs, and then Russ Spicer, who's our youth sports coordinator that'll be up here in just a little bit, but he's at the Johnstown store. We have really enjoyed our partnership with CHSAA the last few years and look forward to many years working together. Shields is an amazing company to work for, has a great work environment. Shields has several culture points that are expected from all of our employees. These culture points are problem solving, being a team player, positive attitude, honesty and integrity, community service, humility, striving for excellence, working above and beyond to get the job done. Giving back to our community is a key component of the Shields business model. And last year, Johnstown, as well as Colorado Springs Shields, gave donations to over 1,500 nonprofits, businesses, schools, sports clubs, sports teams, and we truly desire being involved in our communities. Looking for a way to give back to the community via our relationship with CHSAA, Shields committed to provide a $2,500 Shields All-Star Award scholarship to one male and one female who were nominated by their school leadership, their teachers, coaches, and as well as being someone who demonstrates the culture points on a consistent basis. Students had to be involved in 2 or more CHSAA activities and were expected to fill out an application and answer several questions that related to why they have accomplished or what they have accomplished in the culture point areas. There were a record number this year, record number of scholarship applications this year with about 87 being submitted, and it was inspiring to read through all of them. Young men and women who applied are extremely impressive individuals, and making the final decision for these awards, it was difficult. And so now it is our pleasure to introduce this year's winners. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and bring up Mr. Brevin Doss from University High School. Brevin is our male winner of the Shields All-Star Sport Award, and from University High School. Again, a few of the activities, accomplishments that stood out for Brevin: participation in many awards in football, basketball, and track, served in leadership service positions involving the Student Leadership Council, along with officiating for the City of Greeley with youth sports, working with Student Council each fall to assist with freshman orientation, along with many hours of volunteering time at many youth camps, as well as sporting events. With all of his involvement in sports and activities and leadership, Brevin maintains a high grade point average. Some of the highlights of Brevin's application included him commenting, "Sports are a part of almost every facet of my life. I've experienced my highest highs, my lowest lows while participating in a sport. I've met lifelong friends, connected with my family, built invaluable character traits, and learned transformative lessons through sports. Started my senior football season off great, and then at the end of our 4th game, I was running the ball, planted my foot to cut, and tore my ACL. My MRI showed a complete ACL tear that could only be corrected with surgery, following by a 9-month recovery. In the days after my tear, I had some really low moments. I wondered if I'd ever run again, if I'd ever play football again, if I'd ever be me again. Though I could have let the dark thoughts win, I set my sight on my rehab, made it my goal to bounce back faster than anyone thought possible, and now I'm headed to Black Hills State on a football scholarship and pursuing a career that brings me joy, serves others, and earns enough support to support my family." Again, please join me in congratulating Brevin on being one of this year's Shields All-Star Award winners. Congrats, bro. Good job. Get this to you. At this time, what I'd like to do again, introduce Mr. Russ Spicer, our youth sports coordinator at the Johnstown store.
Good morning. As Scott mentioned, I am the team sports coordinator for Johnstown Shields. It's great to be here to honor these amazing student athletes. Our female winner of the Shields All-Star Award that I would like to introduce to you is Lauren Sincock from Discovery Canyon Campus High School. Lauren's application was very impressive, and it was pretty difficult to pick out some of the many highlights that she had on there, what the top ones were. But here are just a few. Lauren participated in volleyball, tennis, and track, and she served in numerous leadership positions in a variety of groups and organizations. In her 4 years, she was in student council, and she served in the role of treasurer and vice president during that time. She belonged to the English Honor Society and was vice president. She belonged to the Health Occupation Students of America, where she served twice, once as a vice president, once as a secretary, and she was voted team captain of her volleyball team her senior year. Lauren also organized and volunteered in many events that benefited her community, including charity drives, cleanups, volunteering for local centers. She also helped at her school by volunteering to promote the school to incoming freshmen and acting as a representative on the district-run Student Health Advisory Committee. And Lauren always had a strong commitment to academics and maintains an outstanding GPA. Some of the highlights from Lauren's essays include the following. I volunteered with UC Health Memorial Central Hospital for around 3 months. This experience was eye-opening and encouraged me further to pursue a career in the healthcare field, as I was entranced by the setting itself and the feeling of being beneficial to the lives of others. I take pride in knowing that my teammates can confide in me as a source of encouragement as a captain, and I believe that the title has continued to develop my eagerness to be a leader and role model for my teammates. And growing up, I always wore the title of military child, which was adorned on the side with numerous deployments and moves. To this day, I carry my ability to bond with people and make friends as I navigate new settings, which has helped me immensely to grow socially and academically. Please join me in congratulating Lauren on being one of this year's Shields All-Star Award winners.
All right, guys, thank you again very much. All right, we're going to move into voting mode here. Let's do a quick 2-minute stand and stretch at our seats. I know we've been sitting for about an hour. We have children still? Never mind.
Sorry, thank you. Come on, team. My name is Jenny Van Meter. I'm Secondary School Associate Clinical Manager. I'll introduce our team here. On the phone over there taking pictures is our program director, Dennis Coonan. And then we have Robert Lopez, who's also Associate Clinical Manager for Secondary Schools. We're all athletic trainers. We have our athletic trainer, Serena, who is at Horizon High School, and Mercedes from Stanley Lake High School. So we are the awards committee for Children's Hospital, and I will turn it over to Mercedes.
Good morning. We are honored here
We are honored to be here today to present the annual Children's Hospital Colorado Outstanding Sports Medicine Student Award. Through our partnership with CHSAA, we are working together to provide comprehensive, world-class expertise on current health issues that our athletes experience every day, and together we are working to enhance sports safety for all athletes and coaches. We are excited to present this year's Outstanding Sports Medicine Student Award to recognize our student aides who work alongside professional ATs, coaches, and ADs. It is our honor to announce this year's recipient is Delaney Pollard. Delaney is a senior at Horizon High School with over 900 sports medicine volunteer hours. Delaney maintains a 4.0 GPA and remains very involved in different sporting and school activities on top of her student aid athletic training role. Delaney is a part of the National Technical Honor Society, the National Society of High School Scholars. She is a member of the Future Forward Washington Square Ambassador. She participated in the top 10 Health Occupation Students of America state competition. She is part of the United Club and a manager for the basketball team. Once Delaney graduates high school, she plans to attend Grand Canyon University to double major in athletic training, nutrition, and sports psychology.
I nominated Delaney for this award because she has been a true asset in the Horizon High School athletic training facility. From her rapport with the athletes to on-field work with athletic trainers, she has been a pleasure to work with, and it has been an honor to see her grow as a young woman and student. Over the last 2 years, I have seen Delaney become more confident with herself and a great leader to the young students interested in the athletic training profession. Her drive and kind heart will make her an incredible athletic trainer one day, and I'm so privileged to be a part of her journey and one of the first teachers she has in the sports medicine world.
In Delaney's essay submission, she spoke about her personal experiences of overcoming obstacles and how athletic training student not only helped athletes, but herself as well. She spoke to the importance of feeling her body the right way and ensuring athletes were healthy not only physically, but mentally. She wrote in her essay, "I've always had an interest in sports medicine, but I never imagined it would be the thing that changed my life. I thought I was going to learn on how to tape an ankle, treat a strained hamstring, and return an athlete to play, but it wasn't even the beginning of it. I learned that I can't take care of an athlete and give them 100% unless you take care of yourself. Our athletes are incredible people who have made this journey and all the more enjoyable. As I have learned, our job is to support the athlete both physically and mentally, and that's how they all supported me. Athletic training was an opportunity that presented itself 2 years ago, and it has brought back strength and confidence in all aspects of my life. I thought it has taught me that I don't always have to be perfect, and if you're not learning, you're not growing, and what fun is that? Delaney as we chose Delaney for this award because her commitment and dedication. She is a stellar student and has given the time to learn the profession of athletic training. It is our privilege to present this award to her. Please help us congratulate the 2025 Children's Hospital Colorado Outstanding Sports Medicine Student recipient.
All right, I think now we're good. Everybody take a quick 2-minute stand and stretch at your seat, and we'll get back into voting. We'll take a longer break here after we get through the first set of voting. Don't leave. Don't leave. So much for 2 minutes. You know what? Let's go ahead and stretch this to 5 minutes. I know a couple of people had to go to the restroom real quick. Let's be back in our seats ready to vote at 10:20. Back in your seats ready to vote at 10:20. Bad the kid didn't get recognized.
It's hard. It's hard to do all the.
It is. It's important to take time for it and like to.
For me, there's just so many things to nominate for.
To nominate people for, you know, teacher of the year or coach of the year.
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff you have to do, and you have to make it a priority to do it. But it's at the same time, it's still a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of work, and for a lot of it, it's also a lot of work making the right decisions right that stands out.
And then when somebody receives the award, it's a lot of work on that person that's being honored. They have to write a bio, and they have to provide pictures, and they have to.
Yeah. No, I've missed several opportunities this year. Had more time for it.
How is the speech world going for you this year?
Good.
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 What is the season for speech and debate? Is it kind of year round?
Yeah.
It feels like I didn't know. I didn't think there was a set season. I always felt like there was events throughout.
There is. We try to, manage it, and then schools decide how to opt in.
Yeah.
But we start with a coaches conference in August to provide training for new coaches and support education and meetings. And then October 1 is the start of the varsity season, or the novice season, and November 1 is the start of the varsity season. And then state, it depends on 3A state is like the first week of February, 4A state is the last week of February, 5A is the first week of March. And then we have our net calls after that. And another tournament this weekend to qualify to nationals, and then nationals in June.
June, okay.
So some programs are completely done.
Okay, so far. I think so. Yeah, let's recognize her at the end what we're doing. Ooh, I'm gonna. Should I introduce her? All right, note to self, 2-minute breaks never work, but this has now been a 9-minute break, so let's start heading back to our seats and get ready to vote. Let's try to get back to our seats within the next 2 minutes, and we can start getting to the nitty-gritty. Michael, do you want to make a call out to the lobby? All right, looks like we have almost everybody back. That's what I was talking about in my opening comments. Is that's what makes events like this great, is just the networking piece and being able to catch up with people. And inevitably, it all comes down. We're talking about kids, and we're talking about playing games against each other, and we're talking about leagues, and we're talking about all that stuff. So great stuff. Always great conversation. So, all right, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of what we're here for our action items. We have 12 administrative proposals and 2 athletic proposals. Those will all require a majority vote to be approved. They'll require a motion and a second from the floor. And then when we get to section 6, which is the committee reports, the motions to approve those will be made by the presenter at the podium, and then we'll just need a second from the floor. Any questions on procedure before we get started? All right, so again, go ahead and fire up your voting platform, and we're going to give that thing a workout here over the next hour or so, and we'll dive right into the administrative proposals, beginning with Admin 1, ADM 1, clock, timelines, and logistics. Do we have a motion from the floor? Josh from CSML, do we have a second? Will from CASB, okay. Put my glasses on so I can read some of the name placards. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's vote. That motion passes 72-0. Moving on to ADM 2, voluntary opting to play up, brought forward by the Clock Committee. Do we have a motion from the floor? Greg from Intermountain, second. Chris from Tri-Peaks. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's vote. They are? Okay. Okay, that passes 72-0 as well. I knew I had Marty up here to keep me in line. These are already coming forward in the form of a motion, so all we need is a second from the floor. So thank you. I'm glad she's up here to keep us straight on that. All right, ADM 4, clock dominant programs placed up. Do we have a motion from the floor? Do we have a second from the floor? Greg Jones, Intermountain. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's vote. Motion passes 38-33 with 1 abstention. Okay, we have a motion on the floor for ADM 5, clock programs placed down and play down. Do we have a second? Chad from the Granite Peak League. Any discussion? Recognize Sean from the Foothills League. Thank you. As long as that's just turned on, it should work. There you go.
I would question section 1500.49. 1500.49 talks about schools being placed down, and if the school chooses to be placed down, they're not eligible for the postseason. While I agree with that sentiment, I question whether or not we need to legislate the school being placed down. As ADs, we have the freedom to schedule who we want. If I want to go schedule 1A or 3A schools, I can do so. I do not need to be placed up or down on a sheet of paper. By not being placed up or down, I don't even need to be legislated into whether or not I'm eligible for the postseason, and so I question whether that needs to be there. Would recommend that we potentially strike it unless there is strong reasoning for why that needs to exist.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, hearing and seeing no more discussion, let's go ahead and vote on ADM 5. Motion passes 55-17. ADM 6, also from the Clock Committee, required enrollment reporting. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second from Marty, Granite Peak League. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's vote. And that passes unanimously 72-0. Moving on to ADM 7, age requirements brought forward by the Patriot League. Motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second from Kevin, City League. Any discussion? Chair recognizes Travis Steiner.
It's already on. Really just wanted to make a point of clarification on this because there seemed to be a little bit of confusion. This bylaw would add an additional 30 days to student eligibility. This would put this in line with all of our other bylaws that go into effect on July 1st. So all of our transfer rules, all of our new bylaws, all of those things, it would just put age in line with all of those changes. That would give us one less date out there to have to remember and how we apply things. So this does not take away eligibility from kids, it just adds an additional 30 days for kids.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's go ahead and vote. And that passes 49-23. ADM 8, transfer due to military reassignment, brought forward by the Board of Directors. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Eric, NCAC. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's vote. And that passes unanimously as well. If only the draft picks on Thursday night and the NFL draft would go this fast, it'd be nice. Moving on to ADM 9, transfer based on legal change of guardianship. Brought forward by the Board of Directors. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second, Josh CSML. Do we have any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's vote. That too passes unanimously, 72-0. ADM 10, administrative transfers brought forward by the Board of Directors. Amendment to bylaw Article 1800. We have a motion on the floor, second from Nick, Granite Peak. Pseudo Nick? Tyler? Tyler, not Nick? Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. That motion passes unanimously, 72-0. ADM 11, restricted varsity eligibility brought forward by the Continental League. It's to amend bylaw Article 1800.47. Have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Ryan Bishop from Rocky Mountain. Any discussion? Commissioner Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just as someone who as the bylaws give the authority to award restricted varsity. As many of you know, it was something that was added to our bylaws a number of years ago. We found it to be a very beneficial part of our bylaws. I definitely think that this is an issue that needs to be addressed with 365 days expiring earlier, which reduces the penalty for a number of kids. But the number of kids we're talking about, and just giving you real true look at this from the person that actually signs the waiver, we're probably talking about somewhere in the area of 5 kids that this affected roughly. So there is an inequity there. My concern with this proposal is that it provides for an extreme penalty that's going to impact a significantly larger number of kids, including underclassmen who go to schools that don't have sub-varsity programs. I do think this needs to be addressed. I am more than willing personally, I've talked with Mr. Cheney, to work with them on addressing this. I think it definitely identifies an issue and if you want to call it a loophole of some kind or reduced penalty for those kids, but we are talking about an impact to hundreds of kids as opposed to the 5 that this will truly impact. So I would can't ever tell you how to vote, but just going to express that I think that this definitely has a larger impact on those students who shouldn't be impacted, but those that are certainly will address that, but I think we could come together and address this in a different way. So just my opinion as someone who does the waivers.
Thank you, Mike. Any further discussion? Kevin?
Thank you, Kevin Benji, City League. We would have, our programs would see some impact with this passing. We have many programs that are one level, don't have a second level or a third level, JV or C team, and so those students who are underclassmen wouldn't, or seniors would not be able to participate 50% of the season, which is, that's very impactful. In addition, what was mentioned in our outreach was the minimum game requirements for many of our non-bracket sports, individual programs, swimming, gymnastics, ice hockey, to name a few. They have minimum requirements to meet. This is going to hinder those students in meeting those minimum requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Any further discussion? Chair recognizes Tom Brisky. Thank you. I think that one you got to turn on still.
Thank you. Yeah, the intent of this was really, and I appreciate what you said, Mike. There's kids that are transferring and get restricted varsity eligibility, and then coaches or that don't have scruples or whatever, they're only missing 1 or 2 games because they move games further in the season to get that kid eligible. And so that was the intent of this. I understand there's some side effects from that, but that was the intent of this, is that there's a time where you miss half the season if you gain that restricted eligibility.
Thank you, Tom. Any further discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote on ADM 11. Motion fails 51-20 with 1 abstention. Moving on to ADM 12, amateur status, name, image, and likeness, brought forward by the Board of Directors to amend bylaw Article 2000. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Greg Jones, Intermountain. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Motion carries 70-2. All right, final administrative proposal, ADM 13, appeal of player ejection based upon video evidence, brought forward by the Frontier League. This will amend the bylaw Article 2200 and renumber. Motion is on the floor. Do we have a second? Tom from Frontier League? Okay. He can't because they're the league bringing it forward. Do we have a Larry Bull Centennial League? Any discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none, let's vote. After further video review, the motion fails 59-13. Sorry, I had to. I didn't have to, but I did. Moving on to our athletic proposals. ATH 1, baseball, first day of competition. This amend bylaw Article 29, brought forward by the Board of Directors. Motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Patrick Simpson, Jeffco. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Motion carries 66-4 with 2 abstentions. ATH 2, wrestling. Also brought forward by the Board of Directors. This would amend bylaw Article 48. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Travis Steiner, Patriot League. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Okay, motion passes 71-0 with 1 abstention. All right, moving into our committee reports. First up is CR1, Budget and Property Administration. Sarah Vernon-Bruner is going to present this today.
All right. I'd like to thank the Budget and Property Administration Committee for their work, and especially our chair, Bill Sutter from Boulder Valley School District. The only major change is just that the committee reviewed and approved the 25 to 2026 budget. And so I move for the adoption of the Budget and Property Administration Committee report as submitted to the Legislative Council.
So moved. Thank you, Sarah. Do we have a second? Second, Kurt from CASB. Any discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Motion carries 71-0. Thank you, Sarah. Next up, CR2, Clock Committee, Classification and League Organizing Committee. Clay Alba, Chairperson. Your last official act.
Oh, I have other acts, trust me. I look across this room and I think about, I will never see a room full of so many 3/4 zips, knit shirts, and vests with logos and
That's my
pictures of animals on them. So I'll miss that. Hey, you really voted on most of our league report through the ADM, but I do want to just say, as my last act in this is, I really want to thank Mike and the CHSAA staff, especially over the last year or so, going through all of the clock revisions and that process. Especially want to thank Ryan. We met, I don't know how many times, but Ryan always had the data. He would always go back and find the data for us, and it made a big difference. I also want to thank all those who served on the task force. There's a lot of you in this room, and I want to thank just the committee, the clock committee, for all of your work. And I also want to thank Patrick Simpson for agreeing to step into this role. Patrick. So with that, I request to get this approved as submitted. We really had no other findings, major acts. We did approve 8 schools to continue as prospective members. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you, Clay. Your motion is noted. Do we have a second? Second from Jill,
Thank you, Jill.
Continental League. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Motion passes 71-0. Thank you, Clay. Next up, CR4, Sportsmanship and Inclusion. Derek Cheney and Diane Shuck.
Thank you. Sorry Diane could not make it this morning. I'd first like to thank Rashawn and Bethany for their leadership in merging these two groups together, the equity and sportsmanship. And really, that's only the major change, if you look at the report, is just having equity and sportsmanship together. call it the Sportsmanship and Inclusion Committee. And we had good dialogue, good conversation. You'll see some informational items in there. But again, thanks to the committee members, thanks to Bethany and Rashawn for their leadership. Had some really good dialogue with the students in the room as well. Good student voice too. So with that, move for the adoption of the Sportsmanship and Inclusion Committee report.
Thank you, Derek. Do we have a second? Matt Heckel, Kata, any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Motion carries 71-1. All right, next up, CR8, the SMAC, Sports Medicine Advisory Committee. Kevin Clark.
Good morning, Kevin Clark, Director of Athletics Activities, Thompson School District, and the SMAC Committee. No major changes, but 3 things we want to bring to your attention. Jen sent out a survey on April 10th, and we've got about 200 people who have not completed that. It is due today. Chase McBride, the amount of time you've spent on DraftKings and just in this meeting today, you could have that survey completed. So if you could please get that done, that would help us out. Monday, July 28th, that starts the all-school summit. If you've never invited your athletic trainer, please do so. Let's get them connected to the membership, have them a part of that. It's a great half day. We've got great speakers coming in. So again, that's Monday, July 28th, and again, we'll be back here. And the last thing, a year ago, we passed a pilot of the PPE, their pre-participation exams, getting everybody on the same page with that. Just know that becomes a bylaw and into effect next school year. But again, those are the updates we have, and would submit this report to the Legislative Council to be voted on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Motion on the floor to approve the committee report. Do we have a second? You're getting a workout back there, Greg. Greg, Intermountain League. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up, CR9, Tournament and Playoff Finance Committee, Paul Kane.
First of all, I'd like to thank Sarah for her leadership with this committee and as well as the committee members. One major change to the committee report is that the Tournament Playoff and Finance form is required to be completed when you host a head-to-head contest, whether you surpass the $1,000 mark or not. So we just ask that you submit that to the visiting school and to Sarah. So with that, I would move for the adoption of the Tournament Playoff and Finance Committee.
So moved. Thank you, Paul. Do we have a second? David from NCAC. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Motion passes unanimously, 72-0. Thank you, Paul. Next up, CR11, Speech, and Christine Jones.
Hello, I'm Christine Jones. I work at Cherokee Trail High School, and I'm the chair of the Speech Activities Committee. I'd like to take a moment to say congratulations to our state champions. The 3A state champion was Resurrection Christian. The 4A state champion was Rocky Mountain Prep Rise. And 5A state champion was Denver East. So congratulations to all of our state champions. And thank you to our host schools. Niwot, Pueblo Central, and Overland opened their doors to us, and we really appreciate that. I'd like to thank the members of the committee and Rashawn and all of CHSAA for their support for speech. Before I go on to our committee report, I want to ask you all to think for just a moment. We know that weather in Colorado can be quite challenging at times. So consider that it's the day before a regional or a state wrestling tournament. You have a kid who's done great all year and has the chance to be a state champion. You find out that there is weather predicted. You know your team is going to have to travel 2 hours to get to their competition. And you know that the weather might make travel dangerous. You know that kids are already doing dances and trying to get school canceled for the next day. Think for just a moment about the contingency plans that you would be making and the conversations that you might be having at this time. And now I want you to consider if that was your speech team about to leave for the state championship or your music students about to participate, would your answer change? And hopefully the answer is no, it would be the exact same. We want to value all of our students and we want to work really hard to make sure that they are able to be represented at their state championships. But I would like to just take a moment to explicitly ask that as you are planning as building and district leaders for state championships, that you are preparing as diligently with those contingency plans for your activity students as you do with your athletic students. And with that, I would move to our committee report. Our biggest major change is around allowing additions for the state tournament, and I would request that we move to adopt the committee report.
So moved. Thank you, Christine. Do we have a second? Okay, Greg from the Southwestern League. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. And the motion carries 69-3. Thank you. All right, moving on to our sport committee reports. We'll start off with basketball. Presenting that today is Bethany Brookins.
Great. I just want to start off by thanking the basketball committee. They have done tremendous work, and I rely heavily on them, so this is a very special and diligent committee. Thank you to all those members. With that being said, thankfully, it was a pretty quiet year, so we only have one major change, and that is that we just slightly altered the 5A and 6A bracket seating criteria with the increase to 40 teams. We just adopted a more clear language with that criteria to avoid some confusion. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve the basketball committee report as submitted.
Thank you, Bethany. So moved. Do we have a second? Cora from CADA? Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Fancy basketball graphic, Ryan. I like that. All right, committee report passes 71-0. Thank you, Bethany. Moving on to CR 17, flag football. Josh Stevenson.
Good morning, everybody. Would like to first off thank our advisory committee and Justin Saylor for his leadership. Especially exciting when you get the opportunity to build a new sport and see how even NFHS is taking a lot of what we're doing in Colorado and making it the national standards. So the only major change that we have from the 24-25 flag football report is beginning in the fall of 2025, allowing the team that is in the lead to continue rushing the quarterback while in the mercy rule during both regular season and postseason. That was also a change that was made at the beginning of postseason this past year. With that, I now move for the adoption of the Flag Football Committee report as submitted to the Legislative Council.
So moved, Josh. Thank you. Do we have a second? Josh from CSML. John from CSML. Glasses aren't that good still. Should know you by now. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. That committee report passes 71-0. Thank you, Josh. Moving on to CR 18, tackle football. And Levi Kramer.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Levi Kramer from Ray High School. First of all, I'd like to thank, John Sullivan, Assistant Commissioner John Sullivan, for his leadership with the football committee, and then every member of the football committee and all the work that you've put in this past year. There are three major changes that was approved by the football committee. The first, starting in the 2026 cycle, 3A football will align their regular season and postseason structure with 4A and 5A. Second, starting in the 2026 cycle, 2A football will conclude its regular season after the 9th week and have a 2014 playoff begin on week 10 of the season. Playoff format will be the same as the current 4A and 5A. And last, forfeit language will allow schools that receive a forfeit to find a replacement game. Replacement games are limited to either teams similarly affected by the forfeiting team or teams that have had an unfilled allowable contest opening on their schedule. So I move to accept the tackle football report.
Thank you, Levi. So motion. Do we have a second? Ryan from West Central. Got that one right. Any discussion? Greg Jones, Intermountain League.
It's on. Greg Jones, Intermountain League. I'd like to recognize Rick Lovato. The Intermountain League would like to make a proposal in 2A to strike the 2014 playoff and keep it as a 16-team playoff, but I'll let Rick speak to this from Alamosa.
Go ahead. Oh, we need a second on the floor to allow him to speak. All right, Curtis from Casby.
Rick Lovato, Alamosa High School. There was a lot of discussion at the conclusion of this year's season, and a survey went out to leagues for the movement to a 24-team bracket. It was pretty mixed reviews. The majority that I saw wanted to stay with the 16-team bracket. It does create a lot more travel and expense, and for the rural schools especially, those games could be really far away, but also would have very little to no impact in terms of what's going to happen in the overall tournament. And so we would like to request the amendment to keep it as a 16-team bracket.
Thank you. Any further discussion on amending the committee report to reduce the 2A bracket from 24 to 16 teams? As with any amendment that's brought from the floor, it needs a 2/3 majority to pass. So at this time, we will go ahead and vote on amending CR 18 to read in 2A, a 16-team playoff format versus a 24-team playoff mat. A yes vote here would be affirming you want a 16-team bracket. A no vote would be remaining as it's written with a 24-team vote, or 24-team bracket. Go ahead and vote. It let 68 other people vote. I know Ryan, he goes way back. His dad was my high school English teacher. All right, the amendment does not pass. It fails 38-23 with 10 abstentions. So we'll go back to the motion on the floor to motion and seconded to pass the football committee as originally written. Any further discussion on that? All right, seeing and hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. All right, football committee report passes 69-2. Thank you. Okay, CR 19A is a proposal to open the golf committee report for the purpose of amendment, but before we can discuss the amendment, we have to vote to reopen the golf committee report, which would require a majority vote from the floor. Do we need a motion and a second? So we would need a motion and a second to entertain a vote on reopening the golf committee report. Do we have a motion? Mike from Jeff Go. Do we have a second? Amanda from
CSML North.
Okay. Any discussion? Kevin Benji?
I might be mistiming this. Do we need to vote first on opening the report?
Yeah, we need
Okay.
to vote on reopening the report, sorry. At this time, let's go ahead and vote on whether or not to reopen the golf committee report. Need a majority. And that motion does not pass, 47-23 with one abstention. Moving on to CR 21, ice hockey. It is a privilege to introduce the CASE, Colorado Association of School Executives 2025 High School Principal of the Year from Denver East High School, Tarita Walker. Congratulations, Tarita.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tarita Walker, and I would like to begin by thanking the Ice Hockey Committee for their hard work and dedication throughout the school year. And Justin said, I had to say, especially under the outstanding leadership of Assistant Commissioner Justin Saylor. Thank you, Justin. The only major change from 24-25 ice hockey report is beginning with the 26-28 cycle, the elimination of the mandatory 4A mountain crossover game. With that, I now move for the adoption of the Ice Hockey Committee report as submitted to the Legislative Council.
So motion, thank you, Tarita. Do we have a second? Greg Jones, Intermountain League. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Committee report is approved, 71-0. Thank you, Tarita.
Thank you, and I do genuinely thank Justin Saylor for his leadership and the Legislative Committee for your work today and your trust in our process.
All right, CR 22, boys lacrosse. Presenting on that today is Justin Saylor.
Great job, Tarita. Thanks for reading that as I wrote it. There are no major changes to the lacrosse committee, so with that, I move for the adoption of the report as submitted to the Legislative Council.
So moved. Thank you, Justin. Do we have a second? Okay, Tom Brisky, upside down name tag, Continental League. Thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Committee report passes 70-0. Thank you. Moving on to CR 23 Girls Lacrosse. Melinda Brown.
Good morning. Thanks everyone for being here. I'd like to thank the committee and Justin for their hard work this year. There's been no major changes, so we did a lot of good work. I would like to move for the adoption of the Girls Lacrosse Committee report submitted to the Legislative Council.
So moved, Melinda. Thank you. Do we have a second? Will from CASB. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Committee report carries 70-0. Thank you. All right, moving on. CR 24, Bethany Brookins.
Okay, great. Just another thank you to the committee members. Skiing, both Nordic and Alpine, is a very tight-knit community, small number of schools, but a very mighty group. And so we've made some amazing changes over the last several years, and I do think that we're in a good position moving forward with skiing. With that being said, I would just like to draw your attention to only one major change from the report, and this is specific to the Nordic Ski Championships, where each of the individual races will now score the top 4 student athletes instead of the top 3 student athletes, and this was unanimously approved by our committee. And it also aligns with our current regular season practices. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve the skiing committee report as submitted.
So moved. Thank you, Bethany. Do we have a second? Amy Frontier League. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Okay, that committee report passes 70-0. Thank you. Moving on to CR 26, Spirit. Presenting on that is Jen Roberts-Ulig.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Jimmy Porter, our chair, and our committee, and then just those who continue to support the Spirit Committee. We have a lot of audience participation in our committee, and so with that, we thank you. No major changes. I do want to bring your attention to just league presidents. You should have received an email 2 or 3 times from Audra Cathy. You do have to submit 2 dates for your league competitions this coming fall so that we can do a master schedule. That is due by May 1st, so if you can get that completed, we'd appreciate it. And with that, I move for the adoption of the report as submitted to the committee, or to the Legislative Council.
Thank you, Jen. So motion. Do we have a second? Matt Heckle-Cada. Any discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none, let's vote. And that motion carries 69-1. Thank you. Moving on to CR 29, Track and Field, Wes Smock.
First of all, I'd like to thank the committee for their work and Jen Roberts-Ulig for her outstanding leadership. At this time, we have no additions or changes to the committee report and move for the adoption of the report presented to the Legislative Council.
So moved. Thank you, Wes. Do we have a second? Amy Frontier League. This side of the room is doing a lot more than this side of the room today. I'm just saying as far as seconds. It's a full-time job. So noted. Any discussion on Spirit? Or Track and Field, excuse me. Any discussion on Track and Field? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. That motion carries 71-0. Thank you. Final sport committee report is wrestling. Travis Steiner.
All right, thank you, Ryan. I also would like to thank our committee for their tremendous work this year and their work in putting on the state tournament. Also want to thank Sandy for all the countless hours that she puts in keeping us all organized. Thank you to John. While many commissioners do outstanding work in their fields, John, you do pretty good. All right, so I'm not going to blow smoke like other commissioners like to do in the back there. So just joking. Couple of changes this year. One, the committee did approve to implement a state dual tournament at the start of the 26-28 cycle. This is similar to what tennis is currently doing. There was an information packet sent out about that. There are still some details yet to be worked out, but there was information sent out on that. 3A moved to placing 16 teams in the regional snake versus 12. And then also an informational note that the state tournament will return to its normally scheduled weekend. If you remember this year, we had to cut it down one weekend due to the availability of Ball Arena, but we will go back and extend the season back to its normal length and move back to the normal weekend for state wrestling. With that, I would move to approve the wrestling committee report as presented.
So moved. Thank you, Travis. Do we have a second? Jason from Rocky Mountain. Thank you. Any discussion? Patrick Simpson, Jeffco.
Thank you. So our Jeffco League is concerned a little bit about the dual tournament format, just with lingering questions. It's not the idea of the dual tournament, it's about the logistics. When would it be hosted? How would that have any impacts? Our view has been that the state wrestling tournament is maybe the most seminal athletics event we host in this state. And is there any impact that we have with the dual wrestling tournament on state wrestling? So with all those questions, we would like to amend the committee report and strike 1A, 2A, and 3A to allow for continued conversation around the dual tournament format. It's not that we're against it in principle, it's just without more clarity, we don't feel comfortable at this time.
So there's a motion on the floor to amend CR 33 to strike 1A, 1B, and 1C. Do we have a second? I'm going to go Tom, Continental League. Spread the wealth a little bit. Any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on amending the committee report to strike 1A, 1B, and 1C? Seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. A yes vote here is to strike 1A, 1B, 1C from the committee report. A no vote is to leave it as is. So the motion to amend does not pass, as it needs a 2/3 vote in order to pass. Votes 36-28 to 7. So we'll go back to the standing motion on the floor to approve the Wrestling Committee report as written. Any further discussion on that? Seeing and hearing none, let's vote. Committee report passes 53-18 with 1 abstention. Thank you, Travis. All right, that concludes our voting on policy today. We do have a couple more votes coming up later as far as approving district nominees and such, so don't shut down your computers just yet. But again, thank you to everybody for participating in that process. Thank you for everybody having a voice in the room. Thank you to all the CHSAA people for providing the outreaches that really provided some really rich discussion a couple weeks ago about these. I think that's really helped facilitate the movement here at Legislative Council and have people have a chance to get out and talk about the issues before they come to the floor. So thank you all for that. At this time, I invite Jen Roberts-Eulig to come up to the podium and do some recognitions. Jen and Rashawn.
Well, I asked Rashawn to speak because, as anybody knows, he is very, very good. So today we're going to take a minute to recognize our retiring administrators. Obviously, it doesn't go unnoticed all the work and all the time and years and commitment you've put into the membership, and so we just like to take a second to recognize that. He's going to read a little synopsis of each one, but it does not capture all of what they have done over their years. And so just a huge shout out to these. I know there's probably others in the room who didn't speak up because they don't want to, but we just really appreciate all the work that our membership does, and we'll give it to Rashawn.
You want to have him come up? No? Yes. Okay. Our first honoree, Matt Heckel. Matt was a dedicated educator and coach with a longstanding commitment to student development both in the classroom and on the field. A graduate of Bear Creek High School, Matt began his educational journey with student teaching at Alameda High School, where he also launched his coaching career in football in the fall of 1992 with longtime mentor, Coach Woj. In January 1993, he began teaching as a long-term sub at Jefferson High School. During his time, he also stepped in as the girls' soccer coach, a role he held for 3 years. That fall, in August of 1993, Matt was hired as a 7th grade English teacher at Arvada Middle School while continuing his football coaching duties at Alameda with Coach Jay Madden. When Dakota Ridge High School opened in the fall of 1996 under Coach Madden, Matt transitioned there, taking on coaching roles in both football and women's basketball. In 1998, he made the move to teach 9th and 10th grade English at Dakota Ridge, continuing his coaching responsibilities. Matt remained in this role until 2005, when he moved into school administration, bringing a love for the Dakota Ridge Eagle community. Along with his career, Matt takes the greatest pride in his family, including his wife Lynette and their children, Dr. Brandy Heckel and Shane Heckel, both Dakota Ridge graduates. Let's hear it for Matt Heckel. Our next honoree, Robert Frammel. Robert has dedicated over 3 decades to education and athletics in Colorado. With 10 years of coaching experience in football, basketball, and baseball, he served student athletes in the communities of Burlington, Ellicott, and Yuma. He then spent a decade as athletic director at Palmer High School, where he led with a strong commitment to student success and sportsmanship. For the past 10 years, Robert has served as superintendent of the Kit Carson School District, continuing his leadership in education and athletics. In addition to his administrative roles, he's been an active contributor to the broader athletic community, serving on multiple sports committees, and for the past 4 years as a member of the CHSAA Board of Directors. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Frammel. Our next honoree, Sean Graves. No? Okay, all right. Sean Graves spent 30 years in public education with 19 years spent in the classroom as an English teacher, followed by 11 years as a principal, always putting students first and fostering a culture of growth and integrity. As an athletic director for 23 years and a coach for 30, mostly on the football field, but also in basketball, track, and wrestling, Sean helped shape countless student athletes, teaching lessons far beyond the scoreboard. Sean's influence extended beyond the school, serving the CHSAA through a term on both the football and clock committees and 4 years on the Legislative Council. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Graves. Our next honoree, Steve Wilson. No, Steve? We'll come back. How about we come back? We'll see if Steve, okay. Our next honoree, Carrie Duvall. Carrie started his career at Thompson Valley High School in the fall of 2000 as a social studies teacher and assistant basketball coach. For the following 22 years, he taught AP United States History, American History, and World Geography. He coached boys basketball for 16 years as both an assistant and head coach, 4 years as an assistant girls basketball coach, and 2 years as an assistant football coach. In 2022, he became the athletic director and assistant principal at Thompson Valley High School and has served in that role since. Before becoming a teacher, Carrie spent 11 years in the United States Army as an airborne infantry soldier and non-commissioned officer. He's been married to his wife Cindy for over 36 years and has raised 4 adult children and has 2 grandchildren. Carrie's plans for retirement are to maintain his dominance as the favorite peepaw and to go to Thompson Valley athletic contests, spending time heckling Thompson Valley parents. Ladies and gentlemen, Carrie Duvall. Steve? Okay, for Steve Wilson. Steve Wilson brings over 4 decades of dedicated service in education, athletics, and school leadership. His career began as a high school business teacher in Springdale, Arkansas, followed by 16 impactful years at Ellicott High School, where he taught business and physical education at both junior high and high school levels. During his time at Ellicott, Steve also made a significant mark in athletics as the girls basketball head coach for 12 years, leading teams to state championships in 1994 and 1995. He's the junior high girls basketball head coach for 15 years and the junior high girls and boys track coach for 16 years. In addition to coaching, he served as an assistant principal at the elementary level for 2 years and earned recognition as Coach of the Year by the Rocky Mountain News, the Denver Post, and the Gazette-Telegraph. Steve also served as an assistant president and president of the Colorado Coaches Association for a combined 3 years. Steve transitioned into administration full-time in 2000 as secondary principal for Big Sandy School District. In 2005, he became the district's superintendent, a position he has held with distinction through 2025. That's Steve Wilson. He's not here, but can we give, all right. Thank you all. Oh, is he?
Do we think he's coming? Okay.
Oh, no, we're efficient.
So we'll probably grab a picture after the statue. So perfect.
Thanks all.
Thank you, Rashawn. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate Steve, and I know that he's been around for a minute when you get Rocky Mountain News mentioned in your bio. That's impressive. That's good. Couple procedural things before we wrap up here. First of all, we have 5 districts being represented by people on the board of directors that are terming out, retiring, et cetera. And so the members of those leagues need to approve the replacements. I think there's already discussions already taken place. I think it's common knowledge who's taking their place, but procedurally, we just need to vote to approve. So as we bring each of these names forward and call for a vote, the only people voting to approve the new people in that district are people from that district. So kind of on the honor system. Ryan said there's no way to restrict who's voting here, but please only vote on these people if you're in that particular district. Make sense? All right. So first up for District 3, replacing Sarah Crawford is Trent Kerr. Trent Kerr is superintendent of the Wiggins School District. Trent, are you here? He's not here? Okay. I need members of the High Plains, Lower Platte, and North Central Leagues to vote at this time to approve Trent Kerr as your representative on District 3. Should be 4 votes. And that approved 4-0. Thank you. District 4, replacing Cameron Wright, is Patrick Simpson. Patrick Simpson is currently the district athletic director for Jeffco Schools. Leagues voting on this one is the Colorado League, 1 vote, Foothills League, 2 vote, and the Jeffco League, 3 votes. Those people go ahead and vote at this time. Moment of suspense for you there, Patrick. All right, Patrick, you're approved, 5-0. Congratulations. District 5, we need to formally approve Jeff Holloway. He was appointed midterm at the beginning of this past school year, so we just need to formally vote to keep him in the position through the remainder of the term, which is through the next school year of 2026. So voting on this is 4 representatives from the City League and 2 from the Metropolitan League. Please go ahead and vote. Jeff is currently the athletic director at Kent Denver. I think I forgot to mention that. So, all right, Jeff, you can stick around for another year. Congratulations. District 6, replacing Jim Flanagan is Reed Dowdy. Reed is the athletic director at Flatirons Academy. Voting on this appointment, 3 votes Continental League, 2 votes Mile High League, 1 vote 5280 League, and 3 votes Rocky Mountain League for a total of 9. Go ahead and vote. And that is unanimous, 9-0. Congratulations, Reed. And last but not least, District 9, replacing Alfie Lotrick is Ellie Nile. Ellie is the athletic director at Pueblo East High School. Voting on this appointment are representatives of 1 vote from the Arkansas Valley League, 1 from the Santa Fe League, 1 from the South Central League, and 1 from the West Central League. Please go ahead and vote at this time. And that unanimously passes 4-0. Thank you. I would like to take a minute too, and just again, and I know Mike recognized these people earlier, but I would really like to recognize Sarah, Cameron, Jim, Alfie, along with Robert Framel and Tony Exum for their service on the board over these last 4 years. It's a completely voluntary position, and it takes a lot of time away sometimes from our day-to-day and our responsibilities to our schools and to our districts. But to those 6 people that are moving on and are moving off of the board, I want to just acknowledge all of you with a round of applause. Thank you. All right, in final order. Let's do.
You have not heard any of this. Steve Wilson is our next honoree. Steve brings over 4 decades of dedicated service in education, athletics, and school leadership. His career began as a high school business teacher in Springdale, Arkansas, followed by 16 impactful years at Ellicott School District, where he taught business and physical education at both junior high and high school levels. During his time at Ellicott, Steve also made a significant mark in athletics as the girls' basketball head coach for 12 years, leading teams to state championships in 1994 and 1995. Junior high girls basketball head coach for 15 years, and junior high girls and boys track coach for 16 years. In addition to coaching, he served as assistant principal at the elementary level for 2 years and earned recognition as Coach of the Year by the Rocky Mountain News, Denver Post, and Gazette-Telegraph. Steve also served as the assistant president and president of the Colorado Coaches Association for a combined 3 years. Steve transitioned into administration full-time in 2000 as secondary principal for Big Sandy School District. In 2005, he became the district's superintendent, a position he has held with distinction through 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Wilson. What we'd like is if we could have our other honorees please make their way back up for a quick picture.
One more person to recognize that we don't need to vote on because it's appointed by the association case, but case appointee taking Robert Frammel's spot on the board is Dan Melendez. Is Dan here today? I don't think so, but we welcome Dan to the board of directors as well. All right, last act of forever for me for this. I would like to introduce to you the person that's going to lead the board of directors for the next 2 years. It should come as no surprise that this person was voted on by the board of directors to be the president for the next 2 years. Joe Brown is no stranger to Colorado High School athletics. He has worked deeply and dedicated a lot of time to CHSAA, to various committees with CHSAA, has worked with the Coaches Association, has been a coach himself at small schools, middle schools, and big schools. He's currently the athletic director at Niwot High School in Niwot, and is a very active, very informed, and is going to do an amazing job leading this organization for the next 2 years. So I would like to invite Joe to this stage at this time and invite him to adjourn the meeting. Joe Brown.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan, and thank you for your service the last couple of years as president and as a board member for the last 6. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. We've kept you here long enough today, though, so I guess all I need to do is adjourn the meeting, and you guys can go to lunch. So let's go ahead and adjourn the meeting and enjoy the spring.
Hey, I do what I can.
Sucks about getting done this early.